Hey Kipsters, it's Mr. Negron. As you can see, you're looking at KIP NYC unit test number 4. This is a test on mostly negative numbers. So you should have this out as you're going over your test. Now this video in particular is dealing with the following questions. You can see them on the bottom right. So if you got these wrong, 2, 6, 10, 11, 14, 22, 23, and 26, this is going to be particularly helpful for you. Even if you didn't get them wrong, though, it's not a bad idea to review this material because these were some of the trickier questions on the test. So without further ado, here we go. Number 2, the question said, the number line below shows the location of several points. You can see those points here. You have your S, T, U, V, W. They all look like they're between -2 and +2. The question says, where should a point representing -7/8 be on this number line? All right, important information. We're trying to figure out where that one's going to belong. Here are our 4 responses. We can't block them because we need them to answer. So is it between S and T, between T and U, between U and V, between V and W? All right, I got to be honest. I'm looking at these answer choices, and I can automatically get rid of one. Could you point to which one you think is one I can completely get rid of without doing much math at all? If you don't know the answer, let me give you a hint. This number's negative, which means it needs to be on a certain side of this number line. Could you point now to the one that it definitely could not be? Yeah, between V and W, those are positive numbers. There's no way -7/8 is going to be there. All right, so at least I know I'm focusing on the negative side of this number line. So I'm going to make that bigger for you right here. All I did was make this bigger. And I've told you this before, but whenever I see a number line, I always like to count the number of jumps between a hole. And in this case, I'm going to count the jumps between 0 and -1. Why don't you count them with me? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 jumps means that all of the fractions that are associated with these little hash marks have to have a denominator of 4 is right. So let's do that. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay, you get the idea. Now, what is going to go in this blank here? If this is 0, and we're heading into negative land, any ideas of what's going to go in there? Go ahead, call it out if you know it. But did you say -1? And that's you'd be right if you did. And it keeps going backwards. -1/4, -2/4, -3/4, -4/4, -5/4, -6/4, -7/4. Now, by the way, I fully understand you could write this as -1 1/4, -1 2/4, -1 3/4. But it's okay to keep it improper too. Okay? So now, this is helpful, but let's be honest. Look at the fraction we're looking for. That's an eighth. And the language these speak are all what? Call it out? Yeah, they all speak 4s. But see, you guys know what to do. You could make all of these fractions speak 8ths. And let's see if you can do that. Check it out. There's the 8ths. -1/4 is equivalent to what over 8? Call it out if you know it. Yeah, it's -2. You simply multiply this fraction by 2 over 2, which is equivalent to 1 whole, and you're just making a fraction family. That's -2/8. So can you call out, and I'll give you a second to think, but what fraction, make this fraction -2/4 speak 8/8? Go ahead, call it out. Yeah, it's -4/8, and this one's going to be -6/8. And then -4/4, well, that's going to be -8/8. So you see what I did? I just made that speak the language of the fraction that I was looking for. But look, -7/8. Here's -8/8. Here's -6/8. Right in between, I'm going to drag my arrow up. There is -7/8. Okay, and that is between T and U, and that would have been your answer. So just to review, got to count your jumps. Sometimes that'll be all you need to do, but sometimes you need to get creative. And in this case, you need to make fraction families to make it speak the same language and be 100% sure. Yes, there were other ways to do it. You could have reasoned that -7/8 was between 0 and -1, so the answer would only be between t and u. But I wanted to show you this more in-depth strategy as well. Okay, that was number 2. Let's move on. Number 6. Mr. Grant gave his students the inequality below. And there it is. A Pac-Man and A. So the letter B, that Pac-Man inequality sign, and the A, which number line matches this inequality? So clearly this is what we need to focus on. And you know that you can't call this Greedy Gator, you can't call it Pac-Man, you can't call it whatever. This has a specific mathematical name. Could you call out what sign this is? Yeah, if you said the less than sign, you'd be right. And that means, this statement means that B is less than A. Now that might be enough for you to figure out this answer, but I also wanted to point out that that means the same as B is to the left of A on a number line. Okay, when you say something's less than, that means you're saying it's further to the left on a number line. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at all these, and there is only one number line I see where B is to the left of A. And that is choice A. You can see it right there. B is to the left of A. In this case, A is to the left of B, A is to the left of B, A is to the left of B. So the answer for that one was choice A. Really important to remember this fact. B is less than, it means it's to the left of a number on a number line. Okay? Next up. This one caused a lot of issues. It says each unit on this map represents 1 mile. Here's your map. Beth drove from Tarville to Portis, then from Portis to Rosslyn. What was the total distance she drove? All right. You got to understand, this is what they're asking for, from Tarville to Portis, that red line, and then from Portis to Rosslyn. So you need to calculate the length of both of those lines. And we're going to take them one at a time because I know you know how to do this. Let's start with that red line, okay? That red line starts at -21, -19, and goes to 25, -19. We're trying to find the distance between those 2 points. So let's write them down. Now, why don't you go ahead and call out and see what is the first thing we need to do to compare or to find the distance between these 2 points? Call it out if you know it. Yeah, if you said something like this, and I'll go back and show you, you need to cross out or ignore the 2 coordinates that are the same, because you don't have to worry about those. And I apologize, this should have said -19, -19, but they're still the same. You can get rid of them because all you're trying to focus on is the distance, and 19 versus 19 means you're not going up or down. Okay, so literally you have this, and you throw that on the number line like plow. -21. What is that going to be on the left or the right side of the number line? Call it out. There you go. 25, is that going to be in the left or the right side? There you go. And just to be precise, I made sure that this distance was a little less than this one, because the absolute value of 25, the distance from 0, is a little bit bigger than the absolute value of -21. Okay? We got to find the distance between them, so we're looking for that green line there. Some of you could probably do this in your head, but I love doing these problems in 2 steps. First step is my baby jump right there. How long does it take? What's the distance between -21 and 0? Call it out if you know it. 21 units is right. And then, what's that baby jump from 0 to 25? That's pretty obvious. Call it out. 25 units is right, which means that the big jump is just the sum of the 2 baby jumps. 21 plus 25 gives you what? 46 units is right. So the red line is 46 units. Okay? And we're going to apply the same concept to find the blue line. Let's do that now. The blue line goes from Portis to Rosslyn. So let's write down the coordinates of Portis and the coordinates of Rosslyn. There you go. First step, go ahead and call out. What should I be doing first? Yeah, if you said block those, you are right, which means we have a number line that is between -19 and +3. Okay, same idea. We're trying to find the distance between -19 and +3. Why don't you take 5 seconds on your own and figure out what that is? All right, you could find that big jump with two little jumps. How long is the distance between -19 and 0? Go ahead, call it out. Yep, you're right. How about the baby jump between 0 and 3? Yep, that's 3 units. The big jump is the sum of the baby jumps, so that's 19 plus 3 gives you 22, which means the blue is 22. One final step to get our answer. We got to take the red, add it to the blue. 46 plus 22. That was choice B. Okay, you just got to break it down. You knew what to do. It just looked a little different, and that shouldn't freak you out. The answer to number 10 was B, 68 miles. Next one up, number 11. In the morning, the temperature was -3 degrees. At noon, the temperature was 4 degrees warmer than in the morning. What was the temperature at noon? I'm going to block my answers. I don't want them to throw me off. I don't need them. I can calculate this on my own. Temperature was -3 degrees. That's important. Obviously, it's getting 4 degrees warmer, and we want to figure out the temperature at noon. I was surprised at how many people tried to do this in their head. Some people did get it right, but why not draw a number line? There's 0 degrees. Put down -3 degrees. That's what the temperature was. And then if it's getting 4 degrees warmer, if this is -3, which way should we be going on this number line? Should we be going to the right or to the left? Call it out, please. Yeah, if you said to the right, you were correct because to the right is getting warmer. To the left, you're getting colder, -4, -5, -6 degrees. That's freezing. Move to the right, you're getting warmer. Now it tells you how many times to move to the right. 4 degrees warmer just means 4 units to the right. So let's go. That's 1 unit to the right. That'll get you to -2. Another unit to the right will get you to -1. 3 units get you to 0. And 4 units get you to 1. So if you get 4 degrees warmer, you are now going to be at 1 degree. The answer was letter C. Okay, and that's why I appreciate folks just drawing out that number line, showing your jumps, and letter C was the correct answer. Okay, moving on to number 14. Perhaps the trickiest problem on the test. A horizontal line segment is 5 units in length. Which of the following can be the end points for the line segment? Okay, very important part here. A horizontal line segment is 5 units in length. Okay, so we're basically taking these points, which we can't cover up, we need this information, and finding the length of each of them. And that seems like a lot of work, but you'll see with these numbers that they gave us, it's really not that bad. Let's try letter A. 5, 3, 5, 1. You got to remember when you're finding the distance between points, you got to block the coordinates that are the same. So I block the 5 and 5, and I just find the distance between 1 and 3. I'm sure a lot of you can do that in your head, but I'm just going to draw the number line out quickly. There's 1, there's 3. We're looking for the distance between them. Call it out. How much is it? Yeah, it's 2 units. We're looking for something that's 5 units in length. That one can't be the answer. Next up, 3, 9, 3, 4. Cross out the ones that are the same. You're trying to find the distance between 4 and 9. Let me draw my number line. There's 4. There's 9. The distance between them, call it out, please. That's 5. Very cool. So it's looking like letter B is going to be our answer. Let's keep going to check. Ooh, look at this one. 3, 2, 8, 1. We've never done anything like that before. Usually, for it to be a line segment that's horizontal or vertical, the units would have to be the same. Either the x-coordinate or the y-coordinate would have to be the same, which means that this cannot be the answer. You can't calculate this line segment, at least in 6th grade, with one straight line. You would have to jump a little bit. In this case, I think you would have to jump maybe once to the left and then up 5, but that doesn't count. It needs to be one straight line. You can't do letter C like that. Now let's check out letter D, because something very interesting happens here. 2, 3, 7, 3. Cross out the ones that are the same. Which units are the same? Or I should really say which numbers are the same. The 3 is the same. That's your y-coordinate. Uh-oh. I don't know if you guys see it yet, but 2 to 7. What's the distance between those, y'all? It's 5 units. So now all of a sudden, we have 2 answers that are 5 units long. And that's what really tricked people up. But if you looked, there's a very big word here. Not a big word, but a very important word, horizontal. Why don't you show me with your hands right now? Is horizontal the one that goes left to right or up to down? Show me with your hands. I know you'll look weird in front of the computer, but just do it. Yeah, if you're doing left to right like I am right now, you would be right. So now the question is, which of these, when you connect them, gives a horizontal line from left to right? Now, you could draw this. I'm not asking you to do this, but I just want to prove it to you. You don't have to draw a whole coordinate plane. You could just draw it with blanks and draw approximate points on the line, but I just want to prove it 100%. I'm going to plot 3, 9 and 3, 4. Can you put a point or point your finger where 3, 9 would be? Go ahead, point there now. You're pointing maybe, oops, that popped up for no reason. Are you pointing there? Yes, that's 3, 9. Can you point to 3, 4, please? Yeah, 3, 4 is right there. If you connect those lines, if you connect those points, you will get a line segment. Y'all, is that a horizontal or vertical line segment? It's vertical. That one's not the answer. Just to be 100% sure, letter D is the answer. Why don't you guys put your finger where 2, 3 is? Go ahead, put it there. Yes, it's there. And 7, 3. Point where 7, 3 is. It's there. Connected. That is your horizontal line segment of 7 units. A super tricky question, but really with some thought and some effort and not just stopping when you think you have the right answer, you totally could have gotten this. Okay, that was number 14. Almost done, y'all. Number 22. Love this question. Point N for Negron is located on a coordinate grid at 2, -3. This point is reflected across the x-axis. Then across the y-axis, what are the new coordinates of point N? And you can see the answer choices there. So here's the thing. All this information is important in the problem. And I decided, because I saw the coordinates, I'm like, you know what? Let me just draw myself a coordinate grid. It doesn't need to look perfect. But 2, -3, that means I don't really need to draw a very large coordinate grid, and this will help me visualize. Could you point on the grid that I just made? Where is 2, -3? Go ahead, point. If you're pointing somewhere down here, you're totally correct, because 2, -3 means you go over 2, run 2, and then dive down 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's 2, -3. Now, can you drag your finger? Don't touch the computer because you'll ruin the screen. But could you drag your finger as to where the x-axis is? Because that's where it says it's reflected across first. So drag your finger across the x-axis. If you're dragging here, you're right. So what happens if this point here is reflected across the x-axis? It's like it's taking this jump across the x-axis. Point to where you think it's going to go. If it's jumping over the x. Yeah, if you said there, you're totally right. What is the new coordinate after it reflected over the x-axis? What point is that? Call it out if you know it. Yeah, that's 2, 3, but we are not done yet. because it then said it was going to reflect over the y-axis. Show me the y-axis with your arms. Go ahead, do it. Yeah, that's the up and down one, the vertical one right there. That means this point has to jump over this one. Point with your finger towards the screen. Where is the reflection of this point across the y-axis? Yep, it's right over there. What are the coordinates of that new point? This is the last point. If you said -2, 3, because you're running to the left 2 and going up 3, you would be right. The answer was -2, 3. If you want a smart cut, a cool way to think about this is if you're ever asked to reflect across both axes, the x and then the y, did you see what we started off with? You could just find the opposite of both digits and you'll get the reflection. Okay? Just a cool little smart cut for you. Number 22 done. Number 23. Man, people freak out when they see these letters, but it's all a little algebra. Letters are just numbers in disguise anyway. It says the number n is positioned to the left of the number 1 on a number line. Which statement must be true? The number n is positioned to the left of the number 1 on a number line. Oh man, I'm going to draw myself a number line. And I'm going to draw myself where the number 1 is. There it is right there. Now it says the number n is positioned to the left, so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to put an n right to the left. It says which statement is true? Let's go one by one. N is greater than 1. I'm thinking of numbers that are greater than 1. 2, 3, 4. All of those are over there. In fact, greater than means further to the right on the number line. N is not further to the right, it's further to the left. That answer is wrong. Now, letter B is saying that n is between -1 and 1. Now, this could be between -1 and 1. So maybe that is the answer. But must it be true? I don't know yet. What about letter C? Letter C says n is between 0 and 1. Could n be between 0 and 1? Yeah, it could be like a half. That could work. But must it be true? I'm not sure. Then I look at letter D. N is less than 1. Less than means further to the left on the number line. It's the same thing. N is less than 1. N is further to the left on the number line than 1. That's my answer. I could put any number in for n. Like -70. I put -70 into there. That's true. Pac-Man is eating 1 over -70. But if I put -70 in there, that's not true. And if I put -70 in there, that's not true either. Letter D works for any value of n that I put in that is less than 1. Okay, so once again, I know you're used to calling these the less than and greater than signs, but you also need to understand that if you see the less than sign, it means further to the left on the number line than 1. If you see the greater than sign, it means further to the right. I think we got one more question to go. There it is, number 26. More letters, freaking people out, these letters. For what values of y, if any, is the equation below true? And there's the equation, y equals -y. The answers are nothing, no values of y equals 0, y equals 1, or negative values of y. Okay, let's rewrite this equation. I don't really know if the answer is nothing, so I'm going to try 0 first. So let me plug in 0 for y. Watch what I do. I pretty much erase the y's. Please watch the screen. Erase the y's, put in zeros. The question is 0 equal to -0? Well, -0 just means 0. So 0 does equal -0. I think that might be the answer. Let me go to letter C and check. Letter C says y equals 1. Let me plug in 1 for both y's. Watch how I erase the y's. I keep that negative sign there. That's important, but I erase the y's and let me throw in a 1. Bam! 1 equals -1. 1 equals -1. That's not true. That's two totally different places on the number line. This is two totally different temperatures. This one I have $1, this one I owe $1. That's not the same at all. So letter C can't be the answer. Let me look at letter D. Negative values of y only. I don't know. Let me pick a negative value of y and plug it into this equation. -1. I'll throw in -1 in for y. My y's disappear. I throw in -1. -1 equals, remember this, the opposite of -1. What is the opposite of -1? Call it out. That's +1. So what we're really saying is -1 equals +1. That's not true. That's actually the same thing as this. That is also incorrect. Y equals 0 is the only answer, and that means that there is a value of y. It's letter B. Okay, so those were some of the more difficult questions. Thank you as always for listening, and if you have questions about the other ones you might have gotten wrong, you know my number. Thank y'all. Peace out.